Hello, hello, hello. I hope that your week is going well. Welcome to Coach K's Corner. I am Kimberly Marable Winters, also known as Coach K. Thank you so much for joining me today. We are continuing our discussion today about wellness, the true meaning of self-care. Wellness, the true meaning of self-care. So I'm going to have a little review from last week to bring everybody up to speed. From Monday to bring people up to speed in case you were unable to see that video. But when we are talking about wellness, wellness is it's a huge topic, and it can feel big when you start talking about trying to integrate areas of wellness into your life. I like to think of 8 areas of wellness, 8 dimensions in your life where you can practice taking care of yourself. Is that a better way to say it? So these areas, 8 of them that I subscribe to, I have seen more, but they are emotional, spiritual, intellectual, physical, environmental, financial, occupational, and social. So that can be a lot when you think about, oh my goodness, how in the world do I incorporate all these 8 things in a world where my life already seems so busy? I'm already doing a lot. I'm already a mother, father, manager, leader, I'm a professional. There are so many other things that I have to worry about. Now, I want you to think about it like this. The goal of this idea of wellness, and the reason that I'm even talking about wellness, is because it's important that you have a way to create a sense of balance in your life. Balance equals wellness. A balanced life can mean many things depending on your culture, your circumstances, the resources you have available to you. But it does mean making sure that you have time to do the things that cause you to feel happy and fulfilled. Okay. Things that you would do for fun. Let me say it like that. Are you able to include things in your life that you would do for free? They're fun to you. You enjoy them. Nobody's forcing you to do them. You have time to yourself. Life is going to be life, and life is going to give you what life gives everybody, right? It's going to give you a hard time sometimes. It might give you some financial trouble. It might give you some financial hardships, as they say. It might give you some sickness. It will definitely give you some death. It's always every year going to give you some taxes, right? So life is life. You cannot control the outcomes of life per se, meaning you don't want to get fixated on controlling outcomes in your life. You want to stay fixated on managing your response to life. And when you practice wellness, it's like putting the right gas in your car, so that when your car has to go on a long trip, or when you're trying to change lanes and you kind of need to put your foot on the gas to change the lane, or merging, it can perform for you. That is how I want you to think about wellness in these 8 areas that we are talking about. Okay. Creating balance. You each have individual needs, preferences, and capabilities. How do you balance your strengths and your areas of opportunity? Okay. Do you know how to ask for help? Do you ask for support? Because in managing these 8 areas of wellness, it's not something that I'm suggesting to you that you attempt to do alone. Okay. You are not an island unto yourself. I've said that before, but I'm not suggesting that you do these things alone. So you want to embrace some support from other people. That's, again, where the webinars come in. That's where the support groups come in. I will correct those dates that I mentioned on Monday as well, but embracing support from others. My goal, as I've always said, is to guide, encourage, motivate, and support people to make healthy changes in their lives. And this is healthy changes in your life in regards to your relationships. the foundation of your life, or that's your relationships, your relationship with God, your relationship with yourself, and your relationship with other people. And as you join Coach K's Corner, that's what we're going to be talking about. We talk about different aspects of those relationships. Okay. This idea of wellness and creating balance in your life obviously has to do with the relationship that you have with yourself, one that so many people look over. Most people are focused on, if you have your faith, God is there, and you may be intentional about incorporating him into your daily life. But most of us are very focused on relationships with other people, whether that's family members or whether that's a romantic relationship. But most of us tend to stay focused on relationships outside of ourselves. If you do not take care of you, if you do not stay committed and be intentional about healthy decisions over your body, these 8 areas of wellness that I'm talking about, you have nothing to give anybody else. As important as other people are to you, you will have absolutely nothing to give them. Okay. So in this idea of creating wellness, I want you to think about how you can change your routine, how you might incorporate new habits. But how can you do that incrementally so that you don't feel overwhelmed? Okay. You don't feel like, oh my gosh, this stuff Coach K is talking about is great, but she just added 10 things to the list. It doesn't have to be that way. You make incremental changes. Habits become ingrained. And change is hard. And I've said that before, change is hard, but it doesn't have to be so hard if you decide to make incremental changes over time. Incremental changes over time. Establishing new, better habits that support your wellness goals and values can be challenging, but it is absolutely worth it. Today, we are going to talk about specific things that you can do in those 8 life areas. So we're going to take a little time to define those again. And I also want to tell you some things that you want to consider as we talk about these areas of wellness. Number 1, being active in activities that have purpose. If your daily routine lacks meaning, you can often feel distressed and powerless. Okay, so as it relates to occupational wellness, for example, if a job is just a job and you get up every day and you just go into a job, it has no meaning, it has no value, it has no purpose. That can lead to feelings of distress and powerlessness. You want to increase activities in your life that contribute to your wellness. So that's social connections, that's your physical health, your spiritual health, spiritual practices, taking time out to engage with your support system. My sister and my cousin, for example, we have a girls' day weekend, or we have a girls' weekend, or we have a girls' day, but we take time and we are intentional about spending time with people who support us, love us, encourage us. They're able to be empathic with us. They're able to give us good feedback. They're able to support us, lift us up, pray with us, and they believe in us. And they are there to help support our wellness. Okay. Never underestimate a good night's rest. Okay. So this, all this work, and some people use work as a distraction. Some of you know that. You use work as a distraction so you don't have to deal with stuff. That starts interfering with your sleep. When your sleep habits get off, you can create a whole new set of problems. So I definitely, when we're talking about wellness, I definitely want to encourage you to practice a good sleep hygiene, meaning how do you let your body know that it's time for it to go to rest, that it should be winding down? How do you do that? That should be habitual. There should be a routine. There should be a process. There should be that communication with your body and prepping it, that it is time for it to rest. It is time for it to heal. It is time for it to restore itself for the next day. Okay. So just think about that. Now let's talk about this emotional, mental health area of wellness. Okay, it's the ability to cope effectively with life and build satisfying relationships with others, but also with yourself. People with healthy emotional wellness, they feel confident in control of their feelings and behaviors, and they are able to handle life changes. So they have resiliency. They are emotionally intelligent. If you don't know what I mean by emotional intelligence, then get you some books, read up on it. But emotional intelligence means that you have the ability to manage your feelings. You can identify them, you are aware of them, you know how to manage them and handle them effectively. It can be attained or improved by engaging in regular leisure and recreational activities. You can do activities that cater to your senses, your five senses: taste, smell, hear, touch, sight. So listening to music, eating your favorite food, not overeating, but eating your favorite food, listening to your favorite music, lighting your favorite candle, playing with your pet, connecting with your pet, connecting with other people, watching your favorite movie, looking at the sunset, taking a trip to the beach. This is all in emotional wellness. Okay, so I hope those are some good ideas. Emotional wellness. I also want to throw in that you need to pay attention to the attitude that you take on life. What attitude do you choose to take when you wake up in the morning and face your day? What kind of self-talk do you have going on? Because those thoughts and that self-talk determines your emotional state for the day. So what does that sound like? Are you even paying attention to what your self-talk looks like? Maybe you need to manage it. Maybe you need to create affirmations for yourself and look in the mirror and talk to yourself on a daily basis, speaking those affirmations to you, right? Faith comes by hearing. So in your eyes, out your mouth, in your ears, in your heart. That makes sense? Okay, but you speak those affirmations. You look yourself in the face and you speak those positive things over you, your life, your day, your children, your family, whatever needs some positive energy in your life, then you speak to that. That makes sense? Meditating, journaling, having a way to check in with yourself, even if that's just 5 or 10 minutes before you go to bed, and you sit and you ground yourself and you kind of check in. How did living my life feel for me today? That's very simple, guys. That's simple. We're talking about 5 or 10 minutes to incorporate for you to do a self-check on how living your life felt that day. That is something that's not hard to integrate when we're talking about your emotional wellness. Another thing that's really challenging when we talk about emotional wellness is the ability for people to maintain healthy expectations for themselves and healthy expectations of other people. Okay, when you're checking in at night and you're going back through the self-talk you had for the day, that's a good thing to check in as well. Were there areas in my day where I felt disappointed? Was I disappointed over realistic expectations I had for other people? Did I even communicate those expectations to other people? Did the expectations I have of myself, are they coming from me? Are they coming from history? Are they coming from my parents? Are these things I believe in? I think I should believe in them. A lot of things that you can ask yourself there, okay? But check this practice of grounding at night, checking in with yourself at night. A question I tell my clients to ask themselves all the time, 5 or 10 minutes, but how did living my life feel to me today? Okay. Number 2, spiritual wellness is related to your values and your beliefs, and it's where you find your meaning and your purpose. Your meaning and your purpose. You know, sometimes people come to me and they say, I absolutely have no idea about my meaning. I mean, about the purpose over my life or the meaning that my life has. You know, a trick that you might want to try is to create yourself a value or a purpose, and you act as if. So you wake up every day and you act as if this is your purpose, this is your value. And you let that guide your steps, order your steps according to that. Okay, act as if you do know. Maybe you need to volunteer in some places that you hadn't even thought about, but you could. You can volunteer in several places and see if it speaks to you, right? You could do that, but you have to be intentional, people. You have to be intentional about building this life that I'm talking about. You have to take charge of your life. You have to be intentional about change. Sitting in a corner complaining about your life or that your life is not how you want it, but you're not doing anything about it, is not going to cut it. If you want something different out of your life, then come on, guys, let's sit and figure out, how are you going to get it? How are you going to get there? There are steps, okay? So when we talk about this spiritual wellness, we can volunteer. We have moments of self-reflection, meditation, of course, prayer. You can spend time in nature. My sister told me about an exercise she got from a therapist where she said, go hug a tree. Sounds a little odd at first, but a tree is full of life. This greenery outside, everything that you see that's blooming now, it's life. It's life. It's alive. Go hug it. Spend time in it. Now I know you're saying, now, Coach K, I got allergies. Ain't nobody finna be out there in the woods with no pollen, sneezing and coughing and all that. Okay, so I'm reasonable. Do what you can. But nature is beautiful and it is there to be enjoyed. Okay, create quiet spaces for yourself. Maybe that's the back porch, a place of solitude, contemplation, reflection, a place of curiosity, playfulness with yourself, self-curiosity. Maintaining a playful, curious attitude can help you find experiences that offer hope, purpose, and meaning. All right, let's get to intellectual wellness. Intellectual wellness, again, is when you recognize your unique talents. And your unique talents, you choose to be creative, you choose to seek out ways to use your knowledge and skills. Now, this thing up here, if you do not use it, guess what happens? You lose it. As they say, if you don't use it, you lose it. Your intellect, your cognitive ability, your cognition, your memory, your concentration, that is for you to use. It is, if you don't use it, you won't stay very good at it, okay? So you want to cultivate activities that help your mental growth, right? Reading, doing challenging puzzles, crossword puzzles, the Sudoku puzzles, debate issues with other people who like to oppose and have different viewpoints, not argue. I didn't say argue. I said debate, discuss, whatever word you want to put right there, but have some challenging discussions, talk through some issues. There are a lot of controversial things going on right now that you would talk about to anybody. Learn a new language, learn to play a new musical instrument. How do you keep yourself stimulated? How do you keep your brain stimulated? This is what we mean by intellectual wellness. Now, guys, remember what I said. You're integrating these things one step at a time. So this is not, oh, let me go learn a new language. And oh, by the way, let me learn 5 new instruments. That's not the Lord. That's not him. That is not Jesus. That is not what I said. Coach K, don't go tell nobody Coach K told you to do that. I said that these changes that you are making, they are incremental, meaning they're small steps, small changes, one at a time. Don't go load on, oh, I got to stay stimulated, so let me go add 5 new challenges at once. That is not what I said. Physical wellness. We keep talking about physical wellness. There is no getting around the fact that you have to move your body. There are a lot of different ways to move your body. Most of the time when people start talking about physical exercise, you know what people do? They go to the first thought that comes to mind is the worst exercise, the exercise that they hate the most. That's what comes to mind. Do you know how many exercises there are? Particularly when it's getting warm outside. I mean, come on, people. There's what's the stuff you play in the gym in the little room where you hit the ball? That. There's badminton. There's softball, baseball, basketball, swimming. Just walking, any kind of cardiovascular activity. There's bicycling, cycling. You probably should say cycling. There's cycling. There's art might be a good new intellectual activity, but exercise could be anything. Don't just go to the worst thing that you can think of and say, oh gosh, you know, I dread running. Okay, find something you like. There are so many activities out there. Try one until you find one There's yoga is good for your joints, Tai Chi. I can remember when I first got interested in Pilates. Let me tell you. Now, I'm not talking bad about Pilates. If you like Pilates, you go for it. You do that thing. Do you hear me? You do it and you do it well. But let me tell you what, when I tried Pilates and I got mad at the little woman who was doing this Pilates and she's smiling and grinning. I'm like, how in the world is she smiling and grinning? Because this stuff, that Pilates was something serious. Okay. So all I'm saying is be willing to try different stuff until you find something or a combination of some things that you really like. Okay. But you can do that, people. You can do that. It's a whole lot of stuff out there. I didn't know I liked hiking until I started hiking. Okay. I'm just saying. Now, of course, that was with Satan, but I did enjoy the hiking part. But anyway, let's move on. So everybody knows about physical wellness. Environmental wellness is related to the surroundings that you occupy. This dimension of health connects your overall well-being to the health of your environment. Your environment, both your social and natural surroundings, we talked about this, impact the way you feel. It can be hard to feel good if you are surrounded by clutter and disorganization. Walking into a house, for example, where there's stuff all over the floor, there's dishes in the sink, stuff's not organized, there's random items on the counter when you walk in. That is not environmental wellness. Environmental wellness means organization, safe environment. If we talk about more global things, we're talking about pollution, we're talking about violence, garbage buildup, water conservation. And maybe you want to get involved and get more active in some of these projects, some of these kind of missions in your community. Maybe you want to plant a community garden. Maybe you want to have your own personal garden. Maybe you want to get into recycling or purchasing products with minimal packaging, avoiding littering, conserving energy. Maybe you want to get some solar panels for your house. That's what I want to get. My next house, I'm going to have solar panels, and possibly a way to collect water. But anyway, so are you careful about turning your lights off at night, right? What footprint are you leaving? That is what we mean by environmental wellness, okay? It's related to the surroundings you occupy. This dimension of health connects your overall well-being to the health of your environment. Is that a good way to say that? I like that. Connects the health of your overall well-being to the health of your environment. To the health of your environment. Personally, globally, socially, the health of your environment. Okay, what's your neighborhood look like? Do you do any type of initiatives to walk and pick up trash in your neighborhood? Do you have some kind of neighborhood drive with your neighbors to keep your neighborhood looking nice? It's a lot of ways to engage in that particular area of wellness. Again, incrementally, small things, okay? Financial wellness is a feeling of satisfaction about your financial situation. That's financial situation in the present, financial situation in the future. So options for managing your financial wellness include having a household budget that everybody agrees on and everybody's working from. Starting a savings account, adding to it every month, even if it's just a small amount. The time value of money tells you that a small amount now can bring you a large investment later, so it doesn't matter. Saving some of your income in an emergency account so that you're not having to charge large amounts on credit cards where interest rates can be really high. Cutting back on limiting unnecessary expenses. You know, if you're really in a pinch, cable is not necessary. It's a want, but it's not a need. So maybe you have to manage and discuss in your household what wants can you do away with for now until you get your finances on track. Okay. So avoiding unnecessary expenses, you definitely want to avoid adding to your credit card debt, donating to a meaningful charity, shopping at thrift stores, utilizing the library for free books and DVDs, cooking your own meals instead of dining out. I would always tell people, especially couples who would come in, they're arguing about their finances, track your spending for a month. For 30 days, track your spending and see where you're spending most of your money. That's a very good way to see how disciplined you are with your finances. Occupational wellness, find meaning. Again, this is a good place for you to act as if. If you're getting up, going to work every day, and it is just monotonous, it's the same thing over and over. I challenge you to wake up in the morning and act as if what you're doing is important to somebody, and it's important to somebody for a reason. And I challenge you to make it important to you. Act as if. Build relationships with coworkers. Find ways to manage workplace stress. Connecting with people at work is a good way to manage workplace stress. Occupational wellness goal might include finding work that is meaningful and financially rewarding. Maybe it's time that you change jobs. Maybe you have to sacrifice a little bit now to get where you really want to be a little bit later. If you're married, of course, you want to talk that over with your partner. You don't just come home and say, oh, by the way, guess what? I checked out of my job today. Okay, so you want to find work that fits your values, your interests, your skills, your education, your knowledge, so that all that is being fed. Socially, you want to connect with other people. Social wellness is a sense of connectedness and belonging. Where are you getting that from? Are you getting that from your neighborhood? Are you getting that from your family? Are you getting that from your church? Do you have a group of girlfriends? Do you have a group of guy friends? Where are you getting that sense of love and belongingness from? That's important. And all of that cannot come from your relationship. You will kill it. You will make your relationship very heavy if you're trying to get all you need out of your relationship. Does that make sense? Do you understand what I'm saying? You can't get everything you need out of your relationship. You will kill it. You will drain the life out of it. Okay? So how well are you connecting? How well are you setting healthy boundaries? How well are you using assertive communication, not aggressive? You don't have to curse somebody out to get your point across in your relationship. You don't got to curse them out. You don't got to be loud. You don't have to be argumentative. You have to mean what you say and say what you mean. And you might have to go journal to figure out what that is so you can clarify what it is you want, what it is you're asking for, what it is you need. Clarify your expectations first with yourself before you go trying to communicate all that. All right. But that's part of social wellness. Okay. You could join a club. You can join an organization. You could find a book club to join. You could start your own book club. A lot of people think that, the idea of creating what you need doesn't really come to mind for a lot of people. But let me tell you, if it's not a book club that you can find, you can start one, right? You could start a book club. You could start a movie club. When COVID releases everybody, maybe you meet at the park on Saturdays. Maybe you meet at the park and you walk 2 miles. Maybe you meet at the park and you cycle. You can create these things in your life. So it's not that you have to always go find what's there. I need you to know that you can always create it. Okay? All right. Well, I want you to stay tuned to Coach K Korner. I also want you to know that those webinars and workshops, they do start on the April the 12th. So those dates that I gave you on Monday, they were not correct. I got a little confused because I think I started looking at when I wanted to offer support groups, but that won't be until after I do the webinar. So the first set of webinars start April the 12th, 13th, 14th, the 15th, and the 17th. We will be talking about everything from building a foundation with God, self, and others, codependency, anxiety and stress, wellness. And on April 17th, we will be talking about healthy relationships. It's a requirement, not an option. Okay. Healthy relationships is a requirement, not an option. All right. Of course, you can go to CoachKKorner.com and register for these events. You can find pricing there. And you can see the whole lineup of other events that I have available coming up as well. Okay. I look forward to seeing you guys on the 26th at 7 in the morning, where we will be talking about healthy relationships and the fact that healthy relationships is not an option, it is a requirement. Thank you for joining me today. And you guys have a great rest of the week. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.